Hi, I'm Lisa Donovan, co-director of brainworks, the Berkshire Regional Arts Integration Network. Today, the brainworks team and I are going to share with you a music strategy that you can integrate into lessons in your classroom. Among the teachers we work with, this music strategy is one of their favorites because it's so adaptable. This strategy is also featured in Shell Education's book series, Integrating the Arts Across the Curriculum. It's called Chants. Students use their voices to produce either spoken or sung rhythmic sounds or words. As you'll see in just a moment, this music strategy gives students the chance to use the elements of music to create sound effects that can help them remember challenging academic concepts. Chants can be used in a variety of ways: to remember a sequence of ideas, the phases of a process, or a complex definition, just to name a few. Let's take a look at how to implement this strategy in your classroom. And as we go along, watch for evidence of learning in music and math. Begin by dividing the students in your class into small groups. Today, I'm joined by this group of students. Let's imagine this is a middle school math class learning about the geometry of circles, specifically the terminology, formulas, and relationship of parts. Now together, we'll generate ideas to describe the relationships between the parts of a circle. This will serve as the content for our chant.
So what do we know about the parts of a circle? The length around the outside is the perimeter, and I think that we call that the circumference.
We also know that the diameter is a line that cuts the circle in half.
The radius of a circle is half of the diameter. It goes from the center of the circle to the outside edge.
So if you know a circle's diameter, you can figure out the radius, and vice versa. If you know the radius, you can figure out the diameter by just doubling it. And if you know either the radius or the diameter, you can figure out the whole circumference.
You're so right. There's actually a formula that we can use to figure out the whole circumference.
Next, introduce the group to the concept of a chant, which they'll be creating in order to help them remember one of the trickiest aspects of this previous conversation: the specific formula to calculate the circumference. Write the formula down for the students to see. Circumference equals pi times the diameter. Review that pi equals 3.14 if necessary. Introduce the elements of music. There are several elements of music. However, we are focusing on 3 elements that come into play most when creating a chant. Pitch refers to the highness and lowness of sounds on a musical scale. In a chant, sounds are layered on top of each other. Using different pitches for the different layers adds musical interest and also helps to distinguish all of the words in the different layers. Rhythm refers to how time is controlled in music. Think about the impact of tempo, pattern, silence, and how musical ideas are emphasized. Dynamics refers to the loudness and quietness of a musical composition and the transitions between the two. A chant can be most compelling for the listener if certain words or phrases are louder than others, and this variation in dynamics can add a sense of texture to the composition. Teach these concepts, pitch, rhythm, and dynamics, and practice them with the class before embarking on the lesson. You may also want to look at additional elements of music, including harmony and timbre. After making collaborative decisions about incorporating the elements of music and how they can be used meaningfully to help remember the mathematical formula, the group will need time to work on developing and practicing a 3-line chant. This group is now ready to perform. Let's listen to each layer before we experience them together. The first line can set the rhythm for the rest of the chant. Here it's established by low and loud voices.
Solving for circumference, solving for circumference, solving for circumference, solving for circumference.
In the next layer, the dynamics change and the pitch goes higher.
Perimeter, all the way around. Perimeter, all the way around.
In the third layer, the pitch is highest and the rhythm is different from earlier layers. The dynamics are also varied on each layer to help ideas pop.
C equals pi times diameter. C equals pi times diameter.
Let's stack each layer onto the one before so we can hear the effect of how rhythm, dynamics, and pitch are used together. Notice that the use of movement and gesture can amplify musical choices and mathematical content.
Solving for circumference, solving for circumference, solving for circumference, solving for circumference,
All the way around.
Perimeter.
All the way around.
Perimeter.
Pi times diameter.
All the way around.
Perimeter. Pi times diameter.
All the way around.
C equals Perimeter. pi times diameter.
All the way around.
C equals pi times diameter.
Notice how the group considered pitch, dynamics, and rhythm to distinguish the layers of their chant. Each layer has a unique rhythm. The cadence is different based on the syllables and lengths of the words, the pacing, and the emphasis. Each layer has a different pitch, which helps the listener distinguish between lines. Each layer has varying dynamics, which helps emphasize ideas in different ways. Giving your students the same challenge to create a chant based on the content will yield a variety of creative results, bringing their own unique ideas forward. Even when we're working with the same understanding, there's still room for many ways for students to show that they understand the content. Now let's listen to the group's debriefing discussion.
So we wanted each layer of our chant to have a different pitch so that the listener can really hear it clearly. And we started that first layer, the base layer, in a low pitch.
We had to decide based on the words what the rhythm would be.
And sometimes the words even affected the pitch because the different letters or syllables in the words really impacted how they would sound when spoken or chanted.
Tempo is the way time is controlled in music, and we had to be thoughtful to keep an even tempo and not speed up or suddenly slow down. Because if somebody started speeding up, then it would impact the other group members and could kind of throw the whole chant off.
The order in which we layered everything sort of helped to remember the sequence in which the process needs to be remembered.
Layering the movements into the chant was really fun for me, but it also helped me keep the tempo and kind of say the words in the right rhythm.
Here are a few final ideas to help you use the Chants music strategy successfully in your classroom. Consider adding to the chant with instruments or found sounds, everyday objects that produce unique sounds like crumpling paper, tapping pens, or water shaken in a water bottle, for example. This can lead to valuable experiments in music making. Remember to collaboratively explore how to use the elements of music intentionally to heighten interest in your chant. Here we've modeled the creation of chants with student groups. Students can also work independently to make their own chants. Challenge students to teach their chant to the rest of the class, assigning small groups of students to each part, and then asking them to perform the chant together. You don't have to start with a mathematical formula. Chants work well with content areas across the curriculum that you'd like students to explore and remember. The water cycle, cause and effect moments in history, phases of the moon, or grammatical rules. The possibilities are endless. Think about recording the group as they perform their chant. Students can go back and listen to their creation and self-evaluate their work. You'll notice that in arts integration, you don't need to leave the process to assess learning. Assessment is built right into the strategy itself. The planning students engage in as they create their chants provides opportunities for teachers to assess learning throughout the strategy. Debriefing conversations during and at the end of the process allow students a chance to explain their thinking. These discussions can solidify academic concepts for them and help you to evaluate their comprehension of the topic. When artistic work is shared, students can also provide peer feedback. If you liked this video, be sure to check out other tutorials from Brainworks on how to use arts-based strategies in your classroom, including tableau, movement phrases, soundscape, found poetry, storytelling, and collagraph printmaking. Visit us on the web at brainworks.mcla.edu. You can also check out the Arts Integration series integrating the arts across the curriculum through Shell Education. Thanks for watching.